Welcome parents and family to our Gifted and Talented Parent Workshop. Introducing myself, Kristen Parson. I'm an Ames teacher at Brutcher Elementary, 3rd grade.
I'm Brutcher. I'm a 1st grade teacher at Beaufort Elementary.
And my name is Peyton. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Brutcher Elementary as well.
Welcome and thank you for coming tonight. Each of you should have a copy of the PowerPoint we're going to go over, so feel free to take notes, and if you need one, please raise your hand. Okay, what we're going to discuss today is if your gifted or high-achieving child is the right fit for the Ames program. Ames is an advanced math, engineering, and science academy. It's rigorous, it's project-based. We focus on engineering, design, and technology. It follows the grade level Common Core standards and the district mandated curriculum pieces such as everyday math. It also includes GT curriculum pieces such as M Cubed, which is a math program, Junior Grade Books, which is an ELA program, Engineering is elementary, which is serviced through our engineering lab. I want you to take a minute to think, what does rigor mean to you? What is your opinion of students using projects to learn and demonstrate understanding of new concepts? Rigor is defined as the goal of helping students develop the capacity to understand content that is complex, ambiguous, stimulating, and personally or emotionally challenging. It is not a special program or curriculum for select students, and it's not a measure of the quantity of content to be covered. Rather, rigor is a measure of the content's quality. Rigor is defined by Charles Murray as the encouragement of wisdom, which requires a special kind of education. It requires recognition of one's own intellectual limits and fallibilities, in a word, humility. Humility requires that a gifted student learns what it feels like to hit an intellectual wall, just as all of the less talented peers do. And that can only come from a curriculum and pedagogy designed especially for them. The gifted need to have some classes with each other, not to be coddled, but because that is the only setting in which their feet can be held to the fire. And that's what we aim for in our Ames program. Take a moment to think about rigor. Do you think your child's feet have been held to the fire in terms of their education? Would you prefer your child breezes through classes and scores 100% on all assignments, or would you rather have them be challenged? What is project-based learning? Project-based learning shifts from the teacher-centered model to the student-centered model. The teacher is the guide on the side as opposed to the sage on the stage. PBL is activity-based, and students take responsibility for their own learning. In the Ames program, we do many project-based learning activities, and children really enjoy them. Why we do project-based learning? It's because students become naturally motivated because they feel the project is meaningful. The project actively engages all students. The students feel ownership of the project. They enjoy learning as they're given the opportunity to construct their own knowledge as they develop their project. Develops teamwork, improves high-order thinking skills. It focuses on the end project, so it's goal-oriented. Students enjoy the learning. Students learn through failure as well as successes, and it raises student achievement. Take a moment to think about project-based learning. Do you feel your child would thrive in a classroom rich with projects and hands-on learning opportunities? Does your child enjoy cooperative work? Is your child inquisitive?
Alright, so now we're going to talk about some typical needs of gifted students. A need that all gifted student has is an environment where they can express curiosity about many things. We need an environment that focuses on solving problems in unique ways. The challenge of using previously learned things in new contexts, and the platform to discuss and elaborate on ideas such as a Socratic seminar, which we use in a lot of our ELA classes. The support to persist on challenging tasks. Does Ames fit the needs of your gifted or high-achieving student? How do I know if my child is a GT student? This definition comes from the Department of Education. Gifted and talented students are those who are identified in grades 1 through 12 as demonstrating high performance ability or potential in academic and/or artistic areas, and therefore require an educational program beyond that normally provided by the general order to achieve to their potential. So what does it mean to be gifted and talented? Here's some characteristics of some gifted children. Not all of these are going to be represented in every gifted child, but just gives you a little taste. They have a strong imagination, a large memory, good communication, they're inquisitive, they ask questions and are very curious, they're problem solvers, they're perfectionists. They have a sense of humor, somewhat of a higher sense of humor than your average student. It's more like an adult sense of humor. They have, they are sensitive to the feelings of others, so they have social intelligence or empathy for the other students in their classroom. And they have an interest in a few or select topics. A lot of times gifted students will have one passion or interest, such as planets, dinosaurs, something like that they're really intrigued by, and they want to study it all the time. This is going to be a fun portion of the evening. It's called Myth and Reality. What we're going to have you do now is look at some statements regarding gifted students. You're going to guess whether it's a myth or reality. If it's a myth, I want you to put your thumb down. If it's a reality, you can keep your thumb up. So the first statement, parenting gifted young children is labor intensive. If you think this is a myth, please put your thumb down. If you think it is a reality, please put your thumb up. Take a moment to decide. All right, it looks like everyone has chosen. This is actually a reality, as we all think most children are labor intensive to parent. Gifted children are even more so sometimes, just because of that curiosity and all those characteristics we just talked about. Creativity in children is a sign up and a contributor to psychological health. If you think this is a myth, please put your thumb down. If you think it's a reality, please put your thumb up. We're not judging in here, we're looking at each other, so feel free to make a judgment. All right, this is also a reality. Creativity in children is a sign of and a contributor to psychological health. The third one on here, gifted and talented children should spend the majority of their school day with others of similar abilities and interests. Think about how we set up our AIMS program within our schools before you make a judgment on this one. Myth or reality? Very good. As you can see how we have everyone in the AIMS program, it is more beneficial for them to be with peers of similar abilities and interests when learning. There is some evidence that labeling a child gifted and talented has a positive impact on his or her self-esteem. Think about this and put a thumb up or thumb down. Alright, looks like most of you have chosen. This is also a reality. Are these all realities? I'm sure that's what you guys are wondering, right? So last but not least, this one's a little bit interesting. Primetime commercial television offers inadequate and inappropriate role models for gifted children. Think about this one. Thumb up if you think it's a myth. Thumb up, or yeah, thumb down if you think it's a myth. Thumb up if you think it's a reality. Excuse me. All right. Very good. This one is also a reality. As you may know by watching some of the shows, they don't always offer the most adequate or beneficial role models on TV. I want you to take a moment again to think about your child and think about the rigorous project-based AIMS Academy that we've just described for you. And while you're doing that, if you decide that your child is a good fit for our program, what's the next step, right? You may want to read more about gifted students in a project-based classroom, and here are some valuable online resources. Both of these will link you to a website that has an article about project-based learning or more information. And it's also a good time to talk with your student when you get home about their feelings and needs. Are they looking for a challenge? Do they want to be in a rigorous project-based engineering-focused curriculum? So it's also important to talk with them. And you also want to assist your child in filling out the AIMS application and attend the student and parent interviews. And we're going to talk more about this in a moment.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about the qualifications for admission into the AIMS program. How does my child qualify for AIMS? There's an application and an interview process. If your child is identified as gifted and talented through one of the district assessments, the COGAT, the OLSAT, and the STAR assessment, if your child scores 75% or higher on a standardized achievement test, the ITBS, the PASS, or the MAP, when you're thinking about that 75%, it's very easy to think about it on a grading scale A, B, C, D, F. For gifted and talented children, that 75%, if your child scores in that 75%, they have scored in the top 25% of the nation. And so that's why the Ames program used that 75% as its cutoff. If your child receives a B average or better in reading, math, and science. Qualifications to be identified gifted and talented. Your child must meet requirements in 2 out of 3 dimensions. Dimension A, your child must receive 93% or above in one of the following categories on the COGAT or the ALSAT: verbal linguistic, quantitative mathematics, nonverbal, or a composite score of all 3 at 97%. Dimension B, your child must receive 94% or above on state testing in reading or math, and the district uses math and PASS to determine. Dimension C, the STAR testing results. At the primary level, incoming 3rd graders must receive a 16 on verbal and nonverbal. Incoming 4th graders must receive an 18. On the intermediate level, incoming 5th graders must receive a 16 on verbal and 22 on nonverbal to be considered. Questions at this point regarding the Ames program admission guidelines?
What does the interview process look like?
The interview process to be admitted into the Ames program usually begins in the spring semester. You and your child fill out the application process. Your child also submits a letter stating why they think the Ames program is a good fit for them. Once you have submitted your application and the letter, then the Ames staff would contact your family to schedule a meeting. When you come to the meeting, your child will go through an interview process with an Ames staff member. The parent will go through the interview process. Your child will be given some critical thinking questions, a technology assessment, and then when about a month later is when you'll usually get notification on whether your child was admitted into the program. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
The progression on how gifted, talented students are served in our district. Your child can be identified in 2nd grade through the COGAT test outright. If your child is identified through the COGAT test, then they automatically get to go through the application and the interview process for Ames, which would then allow them to receive GT instruction through the Ames process, through the Ames program in the 3rd through 5th grades. Or your child can be identified through 2 out of the 3 dimensions after grade 2, which would allow them to go through the application and interview process, which would allow them to receive services. What if your child does not want to be in Ames, or you don't feel like Ames is a good fit for your child? If your child was identified GT, they will still get services in the regular education classroom. This is a decision that can be based on your child's individual learning needs and the learning styles of your child. A few resources. We have some online resources that you could use. We have the National Association for Gifted Children, and some of the points that are discussed on this website is Gifted at a Glance, supporting parents and families, and tools for educators. We have a website, a link to the South Carolina Department of Education, and this link gives you information about the GT program in our district. It gives you a calendar, the testing windows, information on the screening process, regulations, a copy of the best practices manual, videos, and questions that are frequently asked by parents and educators. Another helpful online resource is the 50 Essential Links for Parents of Gifted Children. Kind of gives parents a chance to come in contact with other parents going through the same situations. There's organizations they can attend, Twitter feeds, blogs, other resources, and articles available. If you are the type of parent who likes to read literature, all of these books can be found at Barnes & Noble. We have Help Your Talented Child. We have Social Emotional Issues under Achievement and Counseling of Gifted and Talented Students. How to Develop Your Child's Gifts and Talents During the Elementary Years. And Parents and Cares Guide for Able and Talented Children. And then a descriptive study of South Carolina's Gifted and Talented program. Now we're going to give you a few minutes. You may turn to other parents, ask questions, And our AIM staff will be walking around, able to help in any way that we can.
Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, just come find us.
Thank you for coming to our workshop tonight. Hope we answered your questions.